Hello and welcome to part 4 of my video series on healing. Healing is for today. In just the last few weeks at Grace Life Fellowship, we've seen eye disease healed, incurable neuropathy healed, shoulder healed, somebody who injured themselves and was walking with a limp was instantly healed. We saw a spinal fluid leak healed. So healing's for today, and today I want to talk about the biggest hindrance we have to healing. And really the biggest hindrance to healing is that we think there's a hindrance. Which that's also known as unbelief. So most people think their problem is a lack of faith. But according to Jesus, that's not true, okay? If you're born again, you already have the faith of Jesus inside your spirit. Romans 12:3 says you've been given the measure of faith. So your issue isn't no faith, your issue is unbelief. That's diluting and pulling against the faith that you already have. You can have faith and unbelief at the same time. Think of a balance scale. On one side you have your faith, but if you start piling unbelief on the other side, it's going to counterbalance your faith and make it ineffective if your unbelief outweighs it. So we need to reduce the amount of unbelief in our lives so our faith will work better. That mixture of faith and unbelief together, it creates doubt, and again, it causes your faith not to work. And Jesus actually dealt with this. When Jesus went to Jairus' house in Mark chapter 5, Jairus' daughter was dead. So when they got to the house, unbelief was everywhere. People were crying, wailing, speaking death. Oh, she's dead, just filling the atmosphere with fear and unbelief. And what did Jesus do? He put everybody out of the house except the parents. He removed unbelief physically from the house. Why? Why did he do that? Because unbelief chokes faith. It contaminates the environment. Jesus didn't say, well, let's just try to believe in the middle of all this doubt. No, he eliminated the unbelief. He put it out so that faith could operate freely. Again, in Mark chapter 8, people brought a blind man to Jesus, and Jesus took him outside the city, which was Bethsaida. Why did he take him out? Because Bethsaida was known for unbelief. They'd seen many miracles and they still rejected God, unbelief. So he took the blind man out of the town, healed him, and said, don't go back into that town. Why did he tell him not to go back in? Because if he went back into that doubt and unbelief, he would lose the healing he'd received. So you have faith, you just need to remove unbelief. And removing unbelief isn't that hard. You really just do it by changing your focus, Change what you listen to, what you read, what you immerse yourself in. You want to immerse yourself in the Word. Immerse yourself in healing teaching. Cut off things that are contrary. Turn off those negative voices, encouraging words of discouragement. Well, you never know what God will do. Well, sure you know. You know He wants to heal you. 1 Peter 2:24, Matthew 8:17, 3 John 2, I could just go on and on. But when you starve unbelief, the faith you already have becomes dominant, So unbelief's the problem. In Mark 14, Peter was walking on the water and he began to sink. So Jesus said, oh, you have little faith, why did you doubt? Evidently a little faith's enough to walk on water, but doubt sank him. So believe this, you have faith. You have the faith of Jesus. Get rid of the unbelief and watch your faith work, At Grace Life Fellowship, we offer prayer for the sick at every service. We meet at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays and 9:30 a.m. on Sundays. We meet at 901 Industrial Drive in the Sumter office building right next door to Russell Stover. So make plans to join us in person. I'd love to see you there. Thanks for watching.